Cecil Hotel, Los Angeles, a name not unfamiliar to those fascinated by the paranormal. This 19-story building has been the site of countless tragedies, suicides, murders, disappearances, and infamous criminals. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, stayed here during the 1980s. A woman once jumped from the upper floors and landed on a passerby, killing them both. A newborn baby was reportedly thrown from one of the windows. Cecil is not an ordinary hotel, and for Elisa Lam, it became the final destination. Elisa Lam, a 21-year-old Chinese-Canadian student, planned a solo trip to California as a way to escape the pressure of school and mental health struggles. She had a history of bipolar disorder, but was on medication and remained in regular contact with her family. She documented her journey on Tumblr with a voice that was introspective and intelligent. On January 26, 2013, Elisa arrived in Los Angeles and checked into the Cecil Hotel, initially in a shared room, but later moved to a private one after her roommates complained about her strange behavior. For a few days, Elisa still called her family, but on January 31st, she suddenly stopped all contact. No texts, no calls, no movement. Her family reported her missing. The investigation began. The strange part was that no one at the hotel saw her leave. Surveillance cameras didn't capture her exiting the building. And then, the final footage, the elevator surveillance video, surfaced. It didn't just redirect the investigation, it sparked one of the most disturbing modern mysteries of the decade. On February 13th, 2013, 2 weeks after Elisa vanished, the LAPD released elevator footage from the Cecil Hotel. It was recorded in the early hours of February 1st, the last time Elisa was seen alive. Just over 3 minutes long, the video exploded across the internet. It was called the creepiest elevator footage ever seen. It spread rapidly on YouTube, Reddit, Tumblr, and every platform imaginable. The more people watched it, the more they felt unease without explanation. In the video, Elisa enters the elevator wearing a red hoodie and a short black skirt. She bends down and presses multiple floor buttons, not in any clear order. Then she presses herself into the far left corner of the cabin, as if hiding from someone. But the elevator door does not close. Elisa peeks outside, steps out, then back in again, waving her hands in the air as if trying to explain something to someone invisible. No one else appears. She walks out into the hallway and vanishes from the frame. The door stays open for nearly 2 minutes. Strange, as this elevator was programmed to close after a few seconds, if nothing obstructed it. Her behavior is disturbing. She doesn't scream, doesn't cry, but clearly looks afraid. Her hands move fast, shaking, as if communicating with something we can't see. Some say she looked like she was playing a cat-and-mouse game with reality itself. Others believe she opened the wrong door into a place she was never meant to enter. Police confirmed that no one else was on that floor, but when examining the footage, they discovered that the timestamp in the corner had been cut. 1 full minute was missing, deliberately. Who edited it? Why? No one knows. This was no longer just a missing person case. From the moment Elisa stepped into that elevator, the story began to slide beyond the bounds of logic, as if she hadn't just gone to the wrong floor, but had gone off the rails of reality itself. On February 19th, 2013, nearly 3 weeks after Elisa Lam disappeared, a hotel maintenance worker named Santiago Lopez was sent to inspect the rooftop water system. The reason? Guests had started complaining that the tap water was dark, had a strange taste, and gave off a foul odor. Lopez accessed the rooftop through a metal fire escape at the back of the building. The door to the rooftop was supposed to be locked, alarmed, but that day it made no sound. No one knows how Elisa got up there without triggering the system, a question that remains unanswered to this day. On the rooftop were 4 large metal water tanks, evenly spaced. Lopez climbed one, opened the lid, and froze. Inside was Elisa Lam's body. She lay on her back, naked. Her clothes and belongings floated beside her. The water was dark. Her body had partially decomposed. The entire hotel was locked down. Guests were asked to leave. Police, forensic teams, and the media swarmed the Cecil. The death was ruled, accidental drowning with no signs of trauma or clear suicide. But the way Elisa ended up in that tank, and how she got there, turned the case into a labyrinth of fear. The strangest detail, the tank lid was heavy and elevated. There were no steps, no ladders, no signs of dragging or equipment. Investigators confirmed it would be nearly impossible for a small, unarmed woman to open, climb in, and close the lid without leaving a trace. Toxicology showed no alcohol or drugs, only a therapeutic amount of her bipolar medication. No wounds, no struggle, no suicide note. Only her, in a 10-foot-tall water tank, sealed on a locked rooftop. No blood, no screams, no goodbye. She vanished in absolute silence and reappeared like a whisper from a place no one was ever meant to reach. The case of Elisa Lam did not end with her death. It became a maze of theories, doubts, and debates with no clear resolution. What remained in the end was a series of questions that no one could fully answer. The official hypothesis from the authorities was Elisa died from drowning, a result of an acute psychotic episode. She climbed to the rooftop on her own, took off her clothes, entered the water tank, and couldn't get out. But that doesn't explain everything. The first problem, how Elisa got to the rooftop. The only way up was through a door with an alarm, accessible only by staff with a key. But there were no witnesses, no alarm, no sounds heard the night Elisa vanished. The door wasn't broken. So, how did she get up there? Second, the water tank lid. It was heavy, elevated, and had no handholds. Elisa was under 5 feet 4 inches, 1.65 meters, with no tools or step stools. When she was found, the lid was closed. How could she have lifted it, climbed in, then closed it behind her from the inside? Third, her clothes. Elisa was discovered naked, with her clothes floating nearby. Many ask, why would a terrified girl, possibly suicidal, remove her clothes in cold rooftop water in the middle of the night? Fourth, the elevator footage. Why was the timestamp blurred, and why was 1 full minute cut? Who edited it, and why? If Elisa was truly just a victim of mental illness, why would the footage need to be concealed? Elisa Lam is dead. Her file reads, death by illness-related accident, but no one really believes that's the whole truth. The elevator where she was last seen has become a symbol of a space between the visible world and things we cannot name. Elisa did not vanish in a mystical way. She slipped from human sight through loneliness, fear, and the desperate need to be understood. Maybe she never found the floor she was looking for, or worse, maybe the world never had a floor meant for her. The elevator remains still. The door never closed, as if it's waiting for someone else to step in. And if someone asks, where did she go? The answer may be, the only place left that could contain a loneliness this world no longer has room for. In the bustling heart of San Antonio, the Emily Morgan Hotel stands tall with Gothic spires, stained glass windows, and an exterior cloaked in somber yellow limestone. From afar, it looks like a romantic old palace, but to locals, it carries a different nickname: the building no one can stay in alone for more than 3 nights. Built in the early 20th century, the Emily Morgan once served as a hospital, dental treatment center, and morgue for nearly 50 years. The rooms that once housed surgeries, recovery, and embalming were later renovated into luxury suites. But something from the past never truly left. It simply changed form. Many guests report hearing wheels rolling down the hallway at midnight, or soft sobbing from rooms with no one checked in. Front desk staff are even trained to ignore elevator activity during the early morning hours. The 7th floor is a name everyone knows, but no one wants to mention. It once held operating rooms and anesthesia wards. After being converted into guest rooms, most visitors staying there request a room change within 24 hours, citing a suffocating atmosphere, flickering lights, or metallic scraping at the door. The story of Julia, a Canadian travel photographer, began in September 2019 when she chose the Emily Morgan as a brief stop on her trip. She didn't believe in ghosts. She just wanted a beautiful view to shoot from above. But the final photos on her camera were never uploaded. Julia arrived at the Emily Morgan in the late afternoon. She booked a room on the 6th floor, a perfect spot to photograph the Alamo through the arched windows. A front desk staff named Marcus greeted her warmly, but when he saw her room number, he hesitated briefly, then forced a smile. "If you need anything, don't hesitate to call down." especially at night. Julia took it as a polite gesture. She didn't believe in ghost stories, and certainly didn't expect a top-rated Texas hotel to be caught up in urban legends. But something strange happened on the very first night. At 1:41 a.m., while editing photos, Julia heard a soft ding echo down the hall, then another, and another. She stepped outside, assuming someone had forgotten to close the elevator, but the hallway was completely empty. The elevator doors were wide open. No one was inside. The panel displayed floor 7. Julia frowned. She approached. The cabin lights flickered faintly, accompanied by a subtle ticking sound, like a loose wire. A chill wind blew from the elevator shaft, despite the entire hotel being kept at a warm temperature. She stepped in. The doors didn't close. Julia pressed floor 1. Nothing happened. She pressed again. Still no response. Suddenly, the button for floor 7 lit up, even though Julia hadn't touched it. She chuckled nervously, brushing off the creeping unease. Must be a glitch in the system. But the laugh faded quickly. As the doors began to close, a soft knocking, tock, tock, came from the ceiling of the cabin. She looked up. No one was there, but the security footage would later show a blurred figure darting past the 7th floor doors, just as Julia stood inside. And according to internal records, floor 7 had been sealed off since 2006. The elevator doors opened to floor 7. Julia stepped out, camera in hand. The hallway was dim and dusty, with a pale, lifeless light. The room doors were unmarked, some left slightly ajar. The floor bore faint circular tracks, like the wheels of an old medical cart. She began taking photos, but the images came out blurry, distorted. Her footsteps echoed softly at first, then suddenly stopped making sound altogether. No more impacts, no echoes. It was as if the air itself had swallowed the noise. At the end of the hallway, a door flung open, then closed, without making a sound. Julia panicked and turned back, but the elevator had shut. The call button wasn't lit. Her phone had no signal. The hallway lights began to flicker. With every blink, she saw a tall, gaunt figure in a white gown, faceless, moving closer. Julia started running, but her own footsteps made no sound. She dashed down the hallway of the 7th floor, heart pounding, but not a single echo followed her. Every movement was drowned in silence. A door burst open. She ran inside. The room was draped in white sheets, cold as a morgue, dimly lit by a pale beam through a dusty window. In the center stood a metal table, like an operating bed. On the wall, drag marks like clawed hands and scribbled medical notes smeared in faded blood. Code black, don't move the body. Julia backed away, then the lights snapped off. A soft voice whispered, "You're too late." A child's voice, dry, deep. She turned on her camera flash. For a split second, the light reflected off a pair of wide-open eyes, staring from beneath the sheet on the table. Julia screamed and stumbled backward, but now the hallway was completely dark. No doors, no end in sight, just an endless corridor and the slow clatter of metal wheels following her. She ran through the blackness, flashlight flickering. She no longer knew where she was. The hallway shifted, windows vanished, walls now covered in white curtains, gently swaying without wind. Suddenly, a door creaked open, revealing a faintly lit room. She stepped in. It was an old hospital laundry, cluttered with blood-stained lab coats. A crooked mirror on the wall reflected her, and a shadowy figure standing right behind her. Julia raised her camera, hands trembling. The screen flickered to life. Then, after a few seconds, the footage distorted, warped, and turned white. The device froze, just the static hum and a flash of a single frame, a strange face with hollow black eyes, staring straight through her. Down at the front desk, the hallway camera on floor 7 lost signal at the exact same time, for 43 full minutes. 7 a.m. the next morning. A housekeeper named Gloria knocked on Julia's door on the 6th floor to deliver fresh towels. No answer. The door was slightly ajar. Inside, the bed still dented, the lamp still on, her suitcase untouched. But Julia was gone. On the bed lay her camera still on, displaying the last image, a dark hallway, and a white figure turning its face toward the lens. The face was unclear, but the eyes, seemed to be crying blood. The staff alerted the front desk. Management reviewed the security feed, but the entire recording of floor 7, from 1:43 to 2:26 a.m., was completely erased. The elevator logs showed Julia entering at 1:41, floor 7, lighting up. Then the footage went white. Search teams combed every floor, including maintenance levels. No trace. No one ever saw Julia leave the building. She was never found. Police closed the file with one brief statement: insufficient evidence to determine disappearance. Her family returned to Canada with her camera and the last photo that no one could explain: an old hospital corridor, dusty, with a sheet-covered bed in the middle. After the incident, floor 7 was officially sealed, the elevator panel replaced, its button removed. But some nights, the elevator still opens at a floor that doesn't exist. And when it does, the hallway behind it reappears, yellowed, silent, with the distant sound of metal wheels echoing faintly. A new security guard said that during a late shift, he saw the elevator stop on its own. The doors opened, no one inside. But later, the camera showed a blurred shape stepping out, with no physical body present. A veteran night guard once whispered, "If the elevator opens onto a place not listed on the panel, it might be because someone on the other side is waiting for you to open the door from this one." The basement does not appear on the blueprints, yet security cameras captured lights flickering inside 3 times, coinciding with the last scream heard over the night shift workers' radio. This is no scripted story. This is a true case from a hotel that still welcomes guests every day, the Crescent Hotel in Arkansas. Once hailed as the paradise resort for the Southern elite, Crescent has endured a dark past, from a boarding school to a mental hospital, and later a fraudulent cancer treatment center run by a butcher in a purple robe. Today, after 10 p.m., many guests staying late at the hotel report seeing the elevator lights flicker on and the doors mysteriously open, even though no one has called for it or is inside. Guests on the 3rd floor are awakened by knocking on doors of empty rooms, and in the dark basement, where patients' bodies were once stored, someone still whispers, "My treatment isn't finished. Don't lock the door." Perched atop a clear hill in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, the Crescent Hotel was once known as the most beautiful hotel in the world when it opened in 1886. But behind its grand European architecture and gilded interiors lies a grim history interwoven with ghosts and tragedies. The hotel wasn't just a luxury resort. It served strange roles over the years: a boarding school, a mental asylum, and even a fraudulent cancer treatment center led by a self-proclaimed Dr. Death, Norman Baker, who failed countless patients and left behind only ashes of hope. Chilling tales of mysterious patient deaths, wandering spirits in dusty corridors, and eerie phenomena like flickering elevator lights and footsteps with no source have cemented Crescent's notorious reputation. Employees report hearing sobbing and eerie laughter late at night, and some have seen faceless figures in white standing outside locked rooms. Many guests have had terrifying experiences, so disturbing they fled the hotel in panic. Crescent Hotel is not just a historic building, it's a labyrinth of darkness and mystery, where the past never releases the present, and restless spirits remain trapped. One autumn night in 2018, Rachel, a young night receptionist at Crescent, faced one of the most terrifying experiences of her life. With the hotel nearly empty and only a few staff working the night shift, Rachel was tasked to check the corridors on the 3rd floor, a known hotspot for strange activity. She walked the long hallway under dim yellow lights, shadows creeping through hidden corners, creating a chilling, haunted atmosphere. Suddenly, at the far end of the hall, she saw a faint white figure standing motionless. Rachel's heart raced, her throat tightened. She tried to call out, but no sound came. The white figure slowly moved toward her, its footsteps silent. A bone-chilling cold spread through Rachel's body, freezing her in place. She watched as the apparition glided past a closed door and vanished as if it never existed. At that moment, the hallway lights flickered. Strange metallic sounds echoed softly against the walls, and the elevator doors opened and closed repeatedly without being called. Panicked, Rachel ran toward the elevator, her hands trembling as she pressed the call button. After this event, Rachel resigned. Her story quickly spread through the hotel, fueling fear and curiosity about the Crescent Hotel's ghosts. Many guests have recounted unforgettable experiences at Crescent. Some guests, staying on the upper floors, say they hear footsteps echoing through the empty hallways at midnight, even though no one is there. Some people sense an invisible presence that makes the air cold and heavy, almost suffocating. Several hotel staff have also admitted to seeing fleeting shadows in the corridors or guest rooms, or feeling as if someone is watching them from afar. There have been cases where housekeeping staff reported objects moving or being mysteriously disturbed without explanation. Additionally, other unexplainable phenomena have been recorded, such as lights turning on and off by themselves, doors creaking without being touched, and strange sounds coming from locked floors. Participants in paranormal tours at Crescent Hotel have also shared experiences of hearing eerie screams or sinister laughter echoing from abandoned rooms. Although these phenomena are not scientifically proven, the widespread reports from numerous witnesses have sparked curiosity and made Crescent Hotel famous among supernatural enthusiasts. Many paranormal researchers have visited to investigate and collect data, aiming to uncover the truth behind the chilling stories associated with this hotel. When Dr. Norman Baker took over Crescent Hotel in the 1930s, no one expected it to become the darkest era in the hotel's history. Baker, a self-proclaimed doctor, lacked credentials and was horrifyingly cruel. The hospital rooms once echoed with the agonized cries of patients, tortured by his bizarre treatments. Guests and staff have recounted nights of stormy weather filled with savage laughter and screams reverberating through the halls. Shadowy, distorted figures silently appeared outside the doctor's office door, moving through the darkness with glowing red eyes that seemed to burn anyone who accidentally caught their gaze. On one occasion, a waiter witnessed a dark figure passing through the operating room, leaving behind an icy chill that nearly caused him to faint. Some survivors of Baker's treatments described a constant feeling of being watched, as if something was stalking them, ready to drag them back to that hellish place. The terrifying stories did not end when Baker left Crescent. The moaning sounds from the operating room still echoed, elevator doors opened and closed on their own during the night, and white streaks darted down empty hallways like restless souls trapped in eternal pain and anger. Crescent Hotel is no longer a place of leisure. It has turned into a nightmare trap where unfortunate spirits endlessly cry out in silence, and every step taken inside could be a final journey. Under the dim moonlight, Crescent Hotel still stands, solid yet mysterious, silently witnessing countless horrific tales without end. Whispers, ghostly figures, and chilling sensations still haunt the corridors, reminding guests that they are never truly alone. Though science cannot explain all the phenomena and the evidence remains inconclusive, Crescent Hotel has become a symbol of fear existing between the real world and the unseen realm. Some believe that the souls of the past still wander, unable to rest, or that there are doors leading to other dimensions, places where dark secrets await. And if one day you set foot in Crescent, remember, not all doors are meant to be opened. Sometimes they close forever. Are you ready to face that?